Today, I'm raising an army of dragons, fending off neighbors who used to be my friends, and juggling 4 islands on the brink of chaos. This one's hot, so crank up the AC and get ready, because I played 100% of kingdoms and castles. The kingdom of Vortira was born. It began on a large fertile island, rich with trees and overflowing with stone. Unfortunately though, iron was scarce. Right next to the iron node, there happened to be a little witch hut. Let's hope that she doesn't give us any trouble later on. After exploring the untamed island, I decided to place down the keep right in between all of the stone. In my mind, this was the ideal spot to place down the heart of Vortira. It provided us with natural protection, as well as a whole bunch of resources. Your first hamlet, the humble beginnings of a magnificent kingdom. That was the first of 12 achievements that I was going to have to unlock to 100% the game. Well, there we have it, the heart of our civilization, the keep. Once it was constructed, 5 loyal followers who believed the cause moved in. Jason, with no last name apparently, Calypso, Brett, Azur, and Robert. There we go, that's a bit more fitting. With the keep being fully set up now, I could finally expand to other things, like building a road in what's going to be the center of our great town. There goes almost all my wood. Let's get cutting. I wanted to be very particular in what trees I was cutting down. If I end up cutting down too many near the keep, I won't be able to replant them later on with the forester. Hence, me being picky. I then decided to place down a house. It really wasn't fair that we had 5 citizens, yet no beds. They really couldn't sleep anywhere. That should take care of things, and maybe we'll get some extra citizens from the extra house. I was definitely going to build a stone quarry soon. This inspired me to build a road out to the nearest stone node. So we have housing, we're gonna have stone. Now we just need a food source. Apples are the way to go, especially since you get quite a lot of them, and it only takes 3 workers to run the farm. Perfect timing. The house is just finished as we started constructing the apple farm. Geez, we are burning through wood like crazy. This once again made me very selectively choose what trees could be cut down. Oh yeah, and I started construction on a stone quarry. It's pretty satisfying to see all of my villagers working hard. Everyone's doing their part to make this thing possible. I wonder how long it takes for these apple trees to grow. Hey look, Robert's an apple tree farmer now. Even though it looked like the trees were growing, we still didn't have a steady source of food. This was a little bit concerning, so I placed down 2 wheat fields, and then a forester because we still didn't have a constant supply of wood. In the village's job priority list, I noticed that we had stone mining as a very top priority. This should not be the case. We definitely need food before stone. You'd think that would be a no-brainer, honestly. I built another house and then placed down a well. All of the basic needs of our citizens were about to be fulfilled. Food, water, housing. Also, if anything catches on fire, we'll now be prepared. I wanted to expand to the north, so I placed down roads on both sides of the keep heading that direction. After placing down another house, reassigning some job priorities, and checking out a nearby pond, I placed down another apple orchard. That was when we spotted a giant red dragon approaching our little village. That is an intimidating growl, I'm not gonna lie. It's definitely a good thing we got the well up and running, because if that thing attacks, we have some water to put out the flames. I for some reason decided that it was a good time to destroy a home and replace it with the road while that beast was flying around. Don't even ask. Luckily, the dragon seemed to be preoccupied at a different island. That was when I started consulting my advisors. Maybe they'll give some good advice for running this little village. Let's go ahead and bring in some more villagers. At this point, I had no idea what was going on with this dragon. It had been flying around our islands for over a full year. That's an insanely long time. Oh, what do we have here? Arrows. I think we found another civilization. Your first village. Starting to get the hang of this governing thing. Awesome. Real quick, if you're enjoying the video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button for more. If you want to get more involved in the Vortide community, check out the Discord linked down below. Our little village of Vortira was now recognized as a small village officially. I have no clue who's actually recognizing us as it, but hey, we're recognized. After all of that excitement, I then placed down a charcoal maker. These guys pretty much just take the wood that we have in our stockpile and turn it into charcoal. That way, we can heat the houses during winter. Let's see, is there anything else that I could build right now? Town square's not a bad idea. I'm gonna place you right there. That makes the most sense, as it's right in front of the keep, and everybody will be able to have easy access to this thing. Winter transitioned into spring, and the town square just finished constructing. That's pretty sick. The banner of Vortira happened to be displayed right in the center of the town square. It was pretty epic looking if I do say so myself. Let's make this look a little bit nicer. And the finishing touch, perfect. All of the houses are connected to a road and it's functional. I couldn't really figure out what else to put right next to the town hall, so I ended up placing down 2 wheat fields. I also could finally afford a treasure room, which I ended up placing down right across from our keep, on the right side. Now we'll be able to tax our villagers and get some income for our small village. Since we now had a building to hold our coins, I figured it would make sense to have buildings holding our food. It's only fair, right? Plus 200 food storage, let's go. Wow, look how scenic our village is during the winter, and during the summer too. It was time to expand one of our roads downward. Why was it time? I have no clue, but I wanted to build some more houses soon, so we'll use that as our excuse. Oh yeah, and I started laying out some of our gates and walls, for protection of course. Let's get one on this side as well, and then wall off this top area a bit. The walls were coming along splendidly. One issue though, we were burning through wood like crazy. So I decided to place another forester to the north. I then built a house, survived a rainstorm, and placed down a few more walls. I didn't have a single tax collector employed, so I decided to move the job up in the job priority list, hoping that we would be able to get some soon. Surely no one will complain about a 10% tax, right? Actually, let's do 20%. 10% honestly wasn't gonna get us any coins. And look, the villagers aren't even that unhappy. We're heading towards 62 happiness, which isn't bad. Uh-oh, how did that happen? Shouldn't that technically go out since it's raining? I guess thankfully we have a well right there. The village was currently living off apples and wheat. This made me decide that I wanted to place down a fishing hut. That's kind of weird that I can't place one down in the pond. Maybe there's no fish in there. It really seemed like we weren't producing any charcoal at all, even though I had a charcoal maker. So I destroyed it and replaced it with a large charcoal maker. You guys already know, we gotta wall this area off, just to make sure it's protected, you know? I also threw down some walls on the bottom right side of the village. We're actually starting to take the shape of a castle now. Nice. We really were starting to look more and more like a castle, especially after adding these new walls. Let's see. I'll go ahead and place down a road there and there. I made the executive decision to destroy 3 of the small houses and replace them with a giant manor. These things unfortunately cost gold, and I wasn't able to scrape up enough until now. I will for sure need a small market now, since we built a manor. So I ended up building one. These things basically provide the nearby houses with charcoal and food. Well, what do we have here? Diplomat and route. It looks like we're about to meet the civilization that was fighting off the dragon a few years ago. Now here's the question, what side are they going to land on? We're kind of in the middle of the island, so I thought that they would land on the left side as it was closest to my gate. But interestingly enough, they went to the most southern part of Vortira. They definitely made this journey a lot longer than it needed to be, but hey, they're not my diplomats. They finally made it over to the keep, and I was able to talk to their ruler, King Pont Chardon. Ah, you're from a neighboring kingdom. A peaceful kingdom, we hope. Indeed, we should have much to talk about. That's definitely the right response. Yes, we look forward to working with you. That concludes our ruler's message. Thanks. Interesting. I don't know if I really like that guy, but he reminds me of an old friend for some reason. Why did our happiness just drop? It looks like we're going to be building a tavern. Minus 10 happiness is quite a bit. Let's go ahead and place that down right there, near all of these houses. Each home that's in the radius of this tavern has its happiness increased. This made me pretty content with my choice of location. As the tavern was constructing, I placed down some more roads. I then received word that another diplomat was en route. Well, it looks like we have another civilization directly to the north. Since they're coming from such a small island, I'm gonna go ahead and assume that this ruler is friendly, just because they don't have a lot of land and are probably gonna need to trade a lot. While I was awaiting the diplomat, I built a road and then started constructing a tower right behind the keep. Wow, this guy cannot sail any slower. The diplomat finally arrived. It only took you a year. Queen Monasta. I almost read that as monster. We have a message from our ruler. Yes, go on. I come from a strong kingdom and I like to keep things pleasant. So don't mess with us and we won't mess with you. Agreed, let's keep the peace. Good, glad we're in agreement. Maybe these guys aren't so peaceful after all. 175 out of 190 apples. And that's the only food that we actually have. Hopefully these wheat fields change that a bit, especially since the more variety in food you have, the happier your people become. It's a little bit ironic that I'm saying that though, because I just destroyed some wheat fields and placed down a road on top of them. Don't worry though, we'll make it up with this tree farm, and now these wheat fields. After I improved our food situation, I destroyed 2 homes and replaced them with 1 manor. Well, who do we have here? Another visitor. Queen Corbon. We have a message from our ruler. Yes, go on. Oh, hello, nice to meet you. You have a lovely kingdom. I hope our 2 kingdoms can be friends. Indeed, we should have much to talk about. We look forward to working with you. That concludes our message. Thank you. I'm not gonna lie, Queen Corbon seems to be my favorite so far. She doesn't seem weird or aggressive. I'm pretty excited, since we now know all 3 of our neighbors. One of them seems kinda mean, one of them seems really nice, and the other seems kind of in between. I started thinking about it, and it was a little bit weird that all 3 of the other kingdoms had boats, and we didn't yet. This made me decide we were going to build a dock. Sure, that doesn't mean boat, but it's a start. Alright, first we need a road, and then we can place the actual dock at the very end of it. And of course we can't afford one. Oh, talk about perfect timing, okay. Boom, there we have it. Our very own dock that we can launch ships off of. Let's get this thing built. Weirdly enough, it looked like our gold was not increasing. I ended up checking the job priority list and saw that our tax collecting positions were not filled. Let's go ahead and switch those. Well, would you look at that? Another diplomat from Pont Chardon was heading over. That name sounds so much more like a village than it does a king's name. Let's just hope his diplomats didn't hear me say that. They arrived at my doorstep with a new message. We have a message from our ruler. Yes, go on. Could you clear a nearby wolf den for us? No, I'm afraid you'll have to handle that yourself. Well, thanks anyways. That concludes our message. What is this guy thinking? I don't even have any soldiers. How am I going to clear a wolf den for him? I think I'm going to have to fortify the walls. He didn't take too kindly to that message. With certainty, I can say that the dock finished building. I knew that without even looking because a merchant ship arrived and they only come when you have a dock. Let's see, what can I buy and what can I sell? Honestly, nothing good. While I was distracted with the merchant ship, Queen Monasta had sent over another diplomat. There is nothing like slow roasted meat. Perfectly seasoned. Pork is my favorite and the favorite of our people. Sounds yummy, our people love that too. Tell me, what is the favorite food of your kingdom? I'm gonna go ahead and say pork, even though we really don't have any. Queen Monasta doesn't need to know that though. As her diplomats were leaving my village, they went out a small crack that I had not walled off yet. That reminded me I needed to wall it off. Afterwards, I decided to further inspect the job priority list. We had 25 builders assigned to building things. So I lowered it down to 10, because we didn't need that many. Wow, another diplomat already? maybe it's a good idea to get up a clinic, because we have no idea what kind of diseases all of these diplomats are bringing over. There we go, perfect. Queen Corbon's diplomats arrived, but apparently so did Vikings. It looked like these guys were sailing in from the northwest and the southeast. It looked like we had around 3 ships near our island. I couldn't really tell if they were trying to land on it or if they were just sailing by. Hopefully the latter. I'll give it to them, their ships look pretty awesome and intimidating. Thankfully enough, it looked like we were in the clear, so I decided that I could finally talk to Queen Corbon. So beautiful, so blue, I wish I could fly. I heard a man who made wings out of vulture feathers. Alright, this is just too much. I'm gonna skip through and tell her what she wants, I guess. That's exactly what I ended up doing, and then her diplomats were on their way. After that long, tiring conversation, I noticed 1 unit of Vikings did make it onto our island. They docked in the top left corner and had no resistance. I was really expecting my keep to take care of things because it had a very far range, but they ended up being smarter than that and stayed right outside of the range of my archers. I started panicking and tried placing down an archer tower right where the Vikings were heading towards. Wait, what? They can swim? I honestly didn't expect them to be able to go through there. Hey, that's my gold! The archer tower I was constructing sadly didn't finish in time, and the archers on my keep just couldn't reach the Vikings. Unfortunately, they got away with all 80 of my gold. There was nothing that I could do. Well, there goes all of my money. I think we learned 2 things from that. Vikings can swim, and I need better defenses. The rest of the year was pretty peaceful, so far. I guess things are only uphill after a Viking invasion. Let's see, I can fit another manor right there. Oh, more diplomats. You know what, I'm just gonna call you King Pont from now on. Let's see what you want. I've been prepared since birth to take over this kingdom. I inherited the throne and have been ruling for some years, but I still feel unready. Why is that? I feel like I'm just playing a role, and at any day the peasants will catch on, and realize in the end, I'm just a person like they are. We must rise to the role we're given. But I really don't know if I'm doing everything right. I worry I'm constantly messing things up. All we can do is our best. You're right, I'll just do the best I can. That concludes the message. Nice, that seemed to go well. After my conversation with King Pont, I sold some charcoal at the merchant ship that arrived. I then proceeded to destroy 2 houses and replace it with a manor. I need a chamber of war to be able to build any of the unit training buildings. So I'll go ahead and just place one right here. Wow, the range on this ballista is insane. It covers almost the whole village. Oh gosh, Queen Monasta, what does she want? It's time we discuss the terms of this relationship. I'm going to be requesting gold from time to time as tribute. Make sure you have enough on hand when I ask. No, I don't think so. I think you'll change your mind. That concludes our message. Well, that was rude. If she thinks she's going to be getting any gold, she's incorrect. I will definitely have to wall off this little area now. This time for real, because I can tell things are not going to go well with her. Oh no, it's a dragon! Thankfully, it seemed like the dragon wasn't interested at all in our village. This allowed me to keep placing down more piers, which I was able to build walls on top of. Looks like Queen Corbon's already returning. Despite her being such a yapper, she seems like the best one out of my 3 neighbors. My happiness was pretty low again because the people wanted a library. So I placed one down right before I talked to Queen Corbon. Time to see what today's message is. She basically said that the Vikings caused a lot of damage in their last raid, and asked me if I could send over some troops. I told her no, because we don't even have any yet. Merchant time. Let's see, can I sell any charcoal? 20 apples will have to do. My recent conversation with Queen Corbon inspired me to build an archery range. We needed to have some troops that I could move around the castle and send out to defend if need be. A manor would be a lot more fitting right here, and we get a lot of extra beds from it. Well, well, King Pont, welcome back. We have a message from our ruler. As always, the Vikings caused some damage in the last raid, and we built many archer towers to fight them off. you might consider doing the same. We wish you luck in the next Viking raid. Well, that was actually kind of nice of him, and it was decent advice. Oh, it looks like my ballistas weren't being fully operational. That definitely needs to go at the top, and disabled for now. We're definitely producing enough stone to get away from all of the wooden structures now. I'm gonna make it my goal to get that done before year 45. What happened next made me realize that this was a great goal. One of the gatehouses that was wooden caught on fire. It started spreading to all of the walls nearby. Well, this is great. Come on, why is nobody putting it out? Oh, it looks like we actually don't have a well close to that side of the castle. The fire did a decent amount of damage, and it was finally put out during the winter. That was a little bit of a setback, but hey, it's not the end of the world. Oh gosh, it looks like Queen Monasta's back. We have a message from our ruler. The Vikings caused some damage last raid and we built some archers. This is the same message from King Pont. Maybe I shouldn't actually call her Queen Monasta. She was trying to be nice. Well, anyways, I then placed down a mason, which repairs any buildings or structures that get damaged. I'm definitely gonna need one of those, especially if we go to war. Also, it's about time that we get some iron. I started placing roads all the way to the east side of our island, avoiding the forest that was in the way. That should do it. We just need to cut down a couple trees and we can now make it over to the iron node. Why is our happiness at 46? I guess I have to lower the taxes a little bit. Your first town, 100 souls look up to you for leadership. That's pretty impressive. We reached 100 citizens in 40 years? Not bad at all. Queen Corbon, to what do I owe the pleasure? Let's see. My favorite niece started brewing beer recently. She's very talented at it already. Really? Wow. Her latest recipe is quite something. It would mean the world to me if you drank it. We got a couple of beers here that we'll give for free. Honestly, I don't see why not. Free beer is free beer. Well, would you look at that? The merchant's already back. Time to make some gold. Let's see. Where's the charcoal? I can sell 36 of it. What can I buy? Wait, is that a Viking unit? I really didn't notice until they were basically at my doorstep, but a Viking invasion was going on. To the archer towers, men! I'm thinking that the merchant probably arrived exactly when the invasion was happening, and that's why we got no notice. Thankfully, we're only dealing with one unit. How hard could they be to take out? No, don't set that on fire. I didn't mention annoying, did I? Weirdly enough, the Vikings weren't interested in loot. They basically just set one of my castle walls on fire and then ran away. A hit and run. At least they won't be able to do it again now, with these new stone walls. Alright, well that was interesting. Let's get back to prioritizing the iron over here. We don't have any yet. I placed down an iron mine right at the end of the road I was building. Now we just need to find someone to work the mine. While we're waiting for some workers, I'm going to go ahead and upgrade these roads to be stone. Better roads means faster workers, and faster workers means more product. This area is not even being utilized. I guess we did just complete the walls around it. There we go. Speaking of filling some unutilized land, I placed down a blacksmith which makes armors and tools right next to our only tavern. I then made sure that the iron mine's coming along. What do we have here? A gift? Looks like some kind of present. Now's honestly the perfect time for one. It's a rainy day. We have a message from King Pont. Greetings. We prepared a gift. Thank you. Well, that was the shortest interaction we've had. Wow, that was honestly unexpected. Thanks, King Pont. I just realized, if we're going to be training some archers, I'm definitely going to need staircases onto the walls. Otherwise, they're going to have to shoot over them. There was a lot going on all at once. I was placing a home outside of the walls, a merchant arrived, and a diplomat was en route. I ended up buying some armaments from the merchant because I wanted to train some archers soon. It also looked like we were offered a special item. Beautiful tapestries. Why not, I guess? I'm starting to think that wasn't worth 150 gold. Alright, let's see what Queen Monasta wants. It's time to pay me tribute. I meant Queen Monasta. I need 40 coins from you. No, not yet. Disappointing, you better have it next time. I don't even know where she got this impression from that I was gonna be giving her gold coins. I'd say it's about time we expand our ballista tower and build another one. You can never have too many ballistas, at least in my opinion. After getting down the second ballista, I started training our very first archer unit. They were training hard in the field of the archery. And they're ready. You guys will be remembered in all of Vortira history as the bravest soldiers to live, as they were the first to rise to the occasion. I then did some remodeling with our walls, received a gift from Queen Corbon, and told the blacksmith to only make tools. We already had one archer unit, we definitely don't need any more now, right? Well, if we do, I'll just put down another ballista to make up for it. It looks like we're about to hear from King Pont. Would you be willing to open up your docks to trade? Sure. We have to discuss prices, though. That looks fine. Now let's see what his prices are. I guess we'll take it. I mean, not much to negotiate. I'm starting to think that King Pont isn't so bad. He's starting to grow on me. We weren't able to house any new citizens because we ran out of beds. So I started expanding more outside of the walls. That little home just got replaced to a big manor. Well, would you look at that? And a dragon's on the way. That's just great. Hey, I can see our city from here. I felt bad that there was just one lonely manor sitting outside of the walls all by itself. So I placed down another one right next to it. And then I removed one of the many rocks that were sitting inside of our town walls. These things gotta go. Would you be willing to open your docks to trade with our merchant ships? No. It was weird because Queen Monasta was being mean, and then she was being nice, and then she was being mean again, and then being nice. So this time, I didn't even accept her trying to be nice. Right after that conversation though, I built another archer tower. You know, for precautions. Oh yeah, and I upgraded my last wooden gate, which I completely forgot was wooden until that point. We're about to be rolling in the dough. I sold 50 charcoal for 150 gold coins. And then Vikings invaded. Let's hope these guys aren't heading towards us. Oh, someone already landed. I'm definitely gonna need these. Now hurry up and build them. You know, we might have been a little bit too late on building those archer towers. There's no way they complete by the time these guys get to the gate. Thank God for the ballistas, though. I forgot about those. Aw, come on, man. Not the manor. Are these guys doing a hit and run too, just like the last Vikings? I guess we'll find out. Or maybe my ballistas got him this time. It was indeed a hit and run. But will they get away? You have got to be kidding me. At least they didn't do any significant damage. And I forgot about my archer unit, didn't I? Queen Corbon's diplomat was patiently waiting at this point, so we talked and made a trade deal. It appears that we have a plethora of stone. Not for long, though. These walls are expensive to build. With the health of our citizens being my #1 priority, I placed down a swineherd in the top right corner of our castle, the space that wasn't getting utilized. Afterwards, King Pont sent over a diplomat to tell me to build archer towers to fight off the Vikings. I was just kinda nice, and told him I was going to, even though we already had a whole bunch of archer towers. Unfortunately, being in a world that was filled with Vikings and dragons meant that we were gonna have to deal with some of our people passing away. So I built a graveyard in the back left corner of the castle. I then had to place down a second tavern because people were complaining that there weren't enough of them. I guess drinking must be important to the people of Vortira, apparently. Uh-oh, Queen Monasta's on her way over. Good thing I built another archer unit. These guys are marching over very proudly. Let's see what she wants. It's time to pay tribute to me. I need this much from you. 110 gold? Sorry to break it to you, but never. How dare you treat me this way? Such disrespect. This is war. Uh-oh. I'm not gonna lie, I saw that coming from a mile away. Alright guys, keep watch. Let me know if you see anything. It looks like she really wasn't kidding about war. One catapult was on its way over directly to our island. We still have yet to unlock catapults and boats at this point. This seems like it's going to be a little bit of an unfair war. Oh, I didn't even realize it, but there's also an archer unit on that boat. Now a diplomat too, actually. The troops of the monster landed on our great island of Vortira. I had my archers on the complete wrong side of the castle, so I repositioned them. Hopefully this archer tower can hold out. Oh wow, it took out that entire archer unit. Now we just need to focus the catapult. Yo, that was easy. Maybe the monster isn't as prepared for war as she thought she was. After some time passed, it looked like round 2 began. 2 swordsman units and 1 archer unit. What is my archer doing? Get back here. Stand your ground. And focus that archer. Nice. And that's a wrap of round 2. Just in case though, I'm gonna move my archers off that little wall. Let's go. Uh-oh. It looks like I had 2 casualties at least. I'm surprised Queen Corbon sending over a diplomat in the middle of a war zone. We have a message from our ruler. We have plague outbreaks now and then. Our doctors work as fast as they can to stop the plague, paid by me, the state, so everyone can get care. I don't know what to say to that. You should let the plague kill the weak. Oh, she did not like that. Honestly, that's kind of weird that she sent over some diplomats and she was talking about a plague. Good thing I got a clinic up and running. Jeez, those guys came out of nowhere. Uh-oh, it looks like the ballistas can't hit the catapult this time. We're chilling though. Nice. Oh, thought that was another catapult. Just a rock though. I ended up defeating another catapult of Queen Monsters, and then one of my taverns caught on fire randomly. I think it was lightning, but who knows. The merchant's here. Looks like I'm able to sell 72 charcoal this time. That's pretty big. 216 gold's nothing to laugh at. What does King Pont want? Oh, I don't know if you saw those arrows in Ballista's shop, but that was crazy. We had come to discuss some happier matters. But unfortunately during a trip someone got sick, and I'm afraid she's not gonna make it. Is it okay if she could stay here with you? Yes, she's welcome. I hope she recovers soon. Oh, that was probably a bad decision. It looks like a plague started in our town now. 2 peasants have already died from it. Despite the plague going around, I had to keep the town running as usual. Let's see, which one of these needs to be removed first? I guess it doesn't really matter. They all have to go at one point. More troops from the monster! Oh wait, it's just 1 swordsman unit. I honestly don't know what she was thinking about just sending over 1 unit, but who knows? I guess free experience for my troops? They didn't even stand a chance. While trying to decipher Queen Monster's thinking of sending over only 1 unit, I started upgrading the roads in our town. That way I can move troops through them a lot quicker, and also we'll be producing things even faster. Oh, interesting. Queen Monster sent over some diplomats, and another swordsman unit. Let's see what she wants. I demand you surrender, and pay us 449 as a punishment. Will you pay up? No, the fighting will continue. I don't even have 449 gold coins. Alright, well see ya. I guess the war continues. And a Viking invasion. Uh-oh. No way. Dragons too? I need to get up some more defenses. I'm not gonna lie. Uh-oh, that doesn't sound good. Oh, no way. We took out the dragon. Dragons are no match for your might. That's a cool achievement, and we now have a lot of food. Holy, where did all of these Vikings just come from? Oh, another achievement. Ogres cannot match the strength of your kingdom. We just slayed our very first ogre, and it's not going to be long until our second and third. Well, assuming they don't slay us first. I think we'll be okay though. That's our second, and here comes our third. Oh, and a fourth. It's pretty epic to see all of the trees getting destroyed in the path of each ogre. You know they're here for business. We only had 1 more ogre to deal with, and I had 3 ballistas ready to take him out. After 2 ballista bolts and a few archer arrows, the ogre collapsed as he wasn't able to handle anymore. Queen Corbon's back. Let's see what she wants. We're in need of some resources. We'd like to build an archer school. Could you help us out? Of course, it'll be our pleasure. And she's explaining how to do a gift, which I already know how to. Alrighty, so I guess we now have an excuse to build a transport boat, which will be our very first boat. Before building one though, I got a little bit distracted with placing down a woodcutter, talking to King Pont about building some more archer towers, and placing down a mason. Oh yeah, and I removed one of the random caves in our castle. I then almost upgraded every single road we had to stone. Let me tell you, this was not cheap to do, at all. At this point, I was on a roll. I even ended up upgrading my 2 small stone cutters into 1 large one. 15 citizens to work that thing is insane. My continuous improvement halted as I just placed down a blacksmith and one of Queen Monasta's diplomats arrived on my doorstep. I see you fought off our last attack, but I demand you surrender and pay 313 gold as punishment for this war. Why would I pay? You started the war. No, fighting will continue, obviously. You will regret this. Yeah, I'm sure I will. I've fought off every single unit she's thrown at us. I felt that it was finally time to utilize the little body of water in the middle of our island. This made me place down a Noria right on top of it. We now had access to unlimited water. It finished constructing, so I threw down a reservoir and then an aqueduct leading to it. I also noticed that we only had 4 food for our entire city. This was concerning, so I immediately started placing down a whole bunch of apple orchards. I was pretty disappointed in myself, because our amount of food was steadily declining, and I didn't even realize it. Weirdly enough though, Queen Corbon came by and started talking about food. I couldn't tell if she was making fun of us because we didn't have any, or if it truly was a coincidence. Wow, our happiness has really fallen quite a bit. It's currently at 40, trending down to 38. That's not ideal. Hey look, we finally built our own merchant ship. Yeah, I probably should have built a transport ship first, because I needed to get that gift over to Queen Corbon, but this just seemed like it would be more beneficial for all of us. In addition to the 3 that I already built, I cleared out some more space for more apple orchards. 17 Viking ships then decided to plague the lands. Alright, we got 1 unit on our island already. This should be easy. Oh wow, that was quick. It's not looking good for King Pont over there though. That's a lot of boats. And he has a whole bunch of troops chasing after them. And he's sending me a gift. Alright, he's fine. Let's see, what goodies do we get today? Wow, that's actually a lot. I'm impressed. He honestly couldn't have sent one at a better time, especially with the food shortage going on. Speaking of food, I placed down a butcher right next to both swine herds. Apparently, this building type's able to process and store meat a lot more efficiently. Uh-oh, another dragon's attacking. It looks like he's heading straight for Queen Monasta's island though, so we're chillin'. Well, at least for now. I then placed down 2 windmills and a whole bunch of wheat fields around them. We now should be doing good on food, since I have a large source of apples, a decent amount of pork, and a decent amount of wheat. At this point, every structure I was building was pretty much outside of the castle walls. What's all of that noise? Uh-oh. We got a whole invasion going on here. And my 2 archers can hopefully take these guys out. I'm gonna focus in on this archer unit, as I should. They can take out our troops without having to be behind the walls. Now I just need to get all of these swordsmen taken care of. Oh my gosh. I'm not gonna lie, things are not looking good. Hopefully this guy will be taken out in a second. He's eating arrows though like crazy. There we go. Move on to the next one. Uh-oh. There goes the wall. Maybe it could be repaired before they get in. I don't think that's gonna happen. We're almost done with all of the swordsmen. And it looks like reinforcements arrived. 3 catapults is insane. And my ballistas can't even reach them. Oh, wait. Yeah, they can. No way. I literally didn't have any of my defenses being manned. I guess that explains why this battle isn't going so well. Focus the archers, guys. Come on. Nice. Oh no. They're inside the castle now. We are taking heavy losses on this invasion, but I think we're starting to regain control. There we go. Okay. We're good for now. That was probably Queen Monasta's best invasion. She actually caused destruction for once. Ah, Queen Corbon sent over a gift. I wonder if this is her way of supporting us in the war efforts. Maybe she's sending over some gifts to the monster as well though. We don't know. I doubt it. She's the one who started this war. My main priority shifted to rebuilding as much of the castle as I could and expanding the walls on the east side. It seems like Queen Monasta only ever attacked from the east. This year's Viking invasion was honestly pathetic. They only sent over one unit, which was honestly a good thing after having to rebuild half the castle. Ah, a diplomat from King Pont. Let's see what he wants. Could you send us more resources from your merchant ship? Sure, which one? We need more iron. We look forward to more shipments. That concludes the message. Well, honestly, I don't even have a lot of iron myself. So we'll see how that goes. Oh no, dragon sighted. Oh wait, this time there's two of them. And one of them's coming straight for our castle. Oh wait, maybe he's just flying by. Well, I guess he's not anymore. That's right, come get all of the meat. We'll have dragon meat set for the next year or two now. I wonder what dragon tastes like, honestly. Most of our archers were taken out in the last battle. I'm gonna go ahead and train at least another unit so we have 3, minimum. Queen Monasta strikes again. This time though, it's one of her regular weak attacks. Or maybe it wasn't. Maybe this was just the beginning of a larger wave. Looks like we got another 2 units coming. Nothing I can't handle though. Oh. Okay, never mind. Wait, what? How did they get through the walls? Okay. And they're on our walls with us now. That's not good. No, all my units are taken out. I guess it's up to the ballistas and archer towers now. Maybe I could quickly train some archer units, but I don't know if that's actually gonna work. Sweet. It looks like we have a little bit of a break. I need to repair these walls before they come back though. It wasn't long until Queen Monasta sent over more troops. Thankfully though, not at full force. 1 archer unit and 1 catapult isn't too bad, honestly. Okay, to beef up our defenses, I'm gonna go ahead and put down an archer tower there. And would you look at that? More enemies. I think Queen Monasta exerted most of her resources in that huge wave she sent over a few years ago. At least I get a little bit of peace of mind knowing that we're not going to have to fight off a huge invasion, at least for another couple years. Hey, the merchant ship finally came back around. I was able to sell 55 charcoal for 165 gold. Not bad. Queen Corbon then came around and asked if I could send over more fish on our merchant ships. Naturally, I said yes, but we don't even have a merchant ship going over to her. Once I finished chatting with her, I noticed that I could sell another 40 charcoal to the same merchant ship at our dock. I'm not going to question how that worked, but I'll take the extra gold. King Pont sent over some diplomats, but this time with a very interesting offer. He asked me if I could send over some troops to help with the next Viking invasion. I told him yes, and then he brought up an alliance, which I happily agreed to. Whoa, we can see his whole settlement now. Yo, he is very developed. How did he already fill up his whole island with stuff? We still have a long way to go at the island of Vortira. It was pretty inspiring to see King Pont's island completely decked out. I wanted to do the same thing with Vortira. but we were definitely going to need a lot more resources for that. These Vikings are so annoying. I should honestly start walling this part of the island off as well, since we have a lot of structures here. At this point, I was pretty happy with our progress. We completed around half of the game, 6 out of 12 achievements, and we were just approaching year 100. That's not bad if you ask me. What is bad though, is that a dragon's approaching. Uh-oh. The dragon was coming in hot, quite literally. And there were 2 of them this time. Thankfully, it was looking like we weren't gonna have to deal with one though. Poor King Pont seems to be the dragon magnet over here. Just in case the dragons do try to come over and cause chaos, I have wells set up in all of the dense areas of our town. So in other words, we'll be able to put out the flames they create. Queen Corbon ended up sending over a diplomat despite the recent dragon attacks. Maybe that's what she's here to talk about. I quickly continued placing down my very first church and then saw what she wanted. We have a message from our ruler. Yes, go on. Did I ever tell you how I became ruler of this kingdom? No, go on. When I was younger, I preferred to throw parties and drink in the taverns in disguise. I thought being on the throne would be a drag. I was hoping the old king would live forever. You love the comfortable life. Very much so. But one day, the old king died with no obvious heirs. I wasn't the court's first choice, but the kingdom was going through tough times and nobody wanted to step up. So I gave it a try. So I took up the throne. A noble choice. At this point, I was getting pretty tired with the conversation, if you couldn't tell with my short responses. But I wanted to keep Queen Corbon happy, as she seemed like she would be a reliable neighbor. Wow, she can talk. After Queen Corbon left, I sold some charcoal to a merchant ship and then placed down a library and a small market in the new neighborhood that I was constructing. Those will definitely raise the property value. King Pont sent over a diplomat not too long after. He pretty much told me that if he wasn't a king, he would be a farmer. It seems like both him and Queen Corbon wanted a regular life. For not wanting to be a king, you're a pretty good city planner. The apple farms outside of my castle walls were unprotected, so I started building 2 soon-to-be archer towers, which one of them caught on fire right away. A thriving city has been created through your fine leadership. Cool, we reached over 250 citizens. I then ended up destroying 2 wheat farms and a windmill. I needed the space to build a road. There we go. And a bit more. Perfect. It's been over 100 years at this point, and we haven't even talked to our neighbor on the island, the creepy witch. Maybe let's just hold off a little while longer. I feel like we're going to be opening up a can of worms with that one. I'll just go ahead and focus on improving our defenses for now instead. Uh-oh, the people want another tavern. Haven't I already built like 2? I guess the people of Vortira really like their taverns. In addition to the tavern, I planned on building a hall of diplomacy. I wanted to finally be able to train my own diplomats, but the question was, where do I place it? I think I have an idea. Of course, right as I started chopping down trees to make space for the building, Vikings invaded. It looks like we're dealing with 13 in total, and of course they all have to sail in right next to my island. That's pretty spooky. It started thunderstorming right as they arrived. Vikings can't control the weather, right? That's a rather unimpressive army, I'm not gonna lie. I really can't get a break, can I? King Pont and Queen Corbon both had diplomats waiting at my keep. Weirdly enough, Queen Corbon told me she had a secret I couldn't tell anyone. Whoa, I wonder where this is going. Sometimes I sneak out of the castle dressed as a commoner, then I visit one of our taverns for a drink. I must admit, it's a thrill to blend in among the peasants. I basically told her that sounds exciting, and then she was on her merry way. Afterwards, I finally placed down the Hall of Diplomacy. Oh yeah, and I got pestered by King Pont, saying that I didn't help out with the last invasion. I mean, I guess I did agree to help out, but I wasn't even able to build my transport boat yet. Honestly, I should have asked King Pont to pick up some of my archery units. Look at all those boats. After getting grilled by King Pont, I ended up placing down a road right in front of the Hall of Diplomacy. I connected it to the road at the front of our castle. This gave us a pretty good chunk of space to place down some more buildings, expanding the kingdom. What building should I build next? This siege workshop doesn't seem like a bad candidate at all. I basically just sent it. I placed down a road, and then right after the siege workshop. Yeah, that's right, Queen Monasta, we're coming for you. We for sure need a road here, especially to transport all that wood coming into the castle. And we finally have enough stone to continue building up the walls. These things are going to be huge. I probably won't need to train any troops anytime soon. Of course, right as I said that, 2 pretty large dragons came in to attack. No way, King Pont actually is a dragon magnet. Both of them are attacking his island. Real quick, if you're enjoying the video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button for more. If you want to get more involved in the Vortira community, check out the Discord linked down below. There we go, I guess they had their fun. While the dragons were preoccupied with Queen Corbon, I started constructing a new residential area. This one was right on the little body of water in the center of our island. These are going to be some pricey manors, that's all I'm saying. Before even building all of the houses, I threw down a well and a clinic. If I was buying a house, I would want water and medical care as close as possible, so I'm sure these citizens are going to be happy. Oh yeah, and they get some walls. That's important. Heh, speaking of walls, Queen Monasta's been pretty quiet over here. What's going on? She's definitely building up some defenses. Yo, wait, what? I leave for literally 30 seconds, and 2 buildings catch on fire while I'm gone? Unbelievable. Despite having 2 active fires in the kingdom, I for some reason decided to place down a whole bunch of wooden walls. Surely, these aren't gonna catch on fire too, right? I then made the new residential area look a little bit more spiffy, with a library and some new roads. Well, would you look at that? Our little moneymakers here. So, it appears that people aren't happy because we don't have a bathhouse yet. I guess I'm just gonna have to go ahead and build one. But where? This spot will have to do. I need it to be right next to a water source, so this works. Also, let's make sure that no Vikings can get in and take a bath too. I'm gonna have to wall this whole area off. Needs to have a full staff to replant. Why is no one working here? It was because we had 57 builders, which we definitely didn't need. I ended up lowering the max amount of builders we could have at one time down to 15. There we go. Now we can actually get some wood, instead of having 0. Oh yeah, and Vikings are invading. I see at least 1 ogre and 2 regular units. Let's get the archers into position. Alrighty, may the battle commence. Yeah, this is gonna be too easy. Nice. Those fires went out super quickly too. Little did I know that wasn't all the Vikings had. They threw 2 more ogres at me. They are no match for my ballistas. Those things just melt the ogres. Nice. Oh, it looks like we got 1 more straggler. Alright, that should be all of the Vikings and ogres now. Once I ensured that the island was finally secure, I placed down my bathhouse. And 2 aqueducts to connect it to the Noria. Let me tell you, this thing took forever to build, and I mean forever. King Pont was even able to send over a diplomat and request armaments on our merchant ships before it finished building. I then was even able to place down another house in the residential area before it finished. Uh-oh, 2 more dragons on the way. And Queen Monasta's troops are here. I didn't even notice them docking. Okay, I need to get these guys over to the other side of the castle before any more damage gets done. But we're actually doing pretty okay. That was frightening, but we're fine. Okay, it looks like I need to pay a little bit more attention. I really wanted to make our defenses even stronger. This inspired me to remove the archer towers in each corner of our castle and replace them with ballistas. Don't worry though, I plan on placing down some more archer towers too, just not yet. Well, would you look at that, Queen Corbon with another gift. She's honestly our most generous ally, and it's a lot of supplies too. With all of the materials that Queen Corbon gifted to us, I decided to invest in a great library. This building is supposed to allow us to research technologies that we've never even heard of before. I wonder if this one's going to take as long as the bathhouse did. Nice. It looks like Queen Monster's out of money again. She's sending over single catapults. Now a single archer unit? What is she thinking? We were running out of food storage, and that was when more Vikings invaded. Ah, it looks like we got 14 this time. Queen Monster must think that she's slick. Sending over enemies when the Vikings are invading? Good thing she didn't time it correctly, though. It seems like it was a feeble attempt, too, with only 2 units. The Vikings honestly did a much better job than Queen Monster. They actually set things on fire, and I wasn't prepared for them. Come on, get over there, guys. No way, it's another hit and run. I'm not gonna let both of them escape, though. I was able to take out one of the units, but unfortunately, the second one got away. Just barely. Well, that's frustrating. They were able to get away with it. At least half of them. Ah, King Pont, what do you want this time? The Vikings caused some damage during the raid last time. We know they'll be back. Could you send some troops to help? Of course. This is going to make trading a lot quicker. I'm going to refer to this main road as the Silk Road. After upgrading the Silk Road, I started planning out another one of our expansions. And then Queen Corbon came by asking for more stone. Uh-oh, it's that time of the decade again. Dragons. These two seemed a little bit different though. They were a bit more in sync than the other ones. I'm sure Queen Corbon wasn't happy about that. Nice, the Great Library finished constructing. So it looks like we have 6 different things we can research. Improved bread ovens, improved construction techniques, stronger sails, armor-piercing arrow technology, armor-piercing ballista technology, and what's this? Dragon husbandry. I'm gonna start with armor-piercing ballistas. When it finishes, it looks like each ballista tower is gonna have increased damage by 25%. We are going to absolutely obliterate any of the ogres and dragons that attack us now. Once the research finishes, of course. The outer wooden wall of our castle wasn't really enough anymore. We have way too many valuable buildings in the areas that we've expanded to. I think it's about time we upgrade the wood to stone. And maybe place down a few more archer towers. Of course. I began upgrading some of the walls right as a Viking invasion was occurring. Well, they did it again. The classic Viking move. A hit and run. I thought these guys were supposed to be known for pillaging and plundering. It's kinda crazy that I've survived for 141 years, and I haven't talked to these advisors since like year 1. Alright builders, so what I'm thinking is getting archer towers on each side of the ballista towers. That way, if anyone ever gets close to the ballistas, these archer towers will take them out. It occurred to me that I wasn't really utilizing our wheat. This inspired me to place down a baker, right on the waterfront. This bottom right neighborhood is for sure the nicest. After placing down my bakery, I then started researching improved bread ovens, and my very first diplomat finished training. Hello for the 20th time, Queen Corbon. She basically sent over a diplomat to see how often I bathe. That's quite a personal question if you ask me, but hey, I guess we are pretty good friends. It was raining and thundering pretty bad, so it seemed like the appropriate year to expand our graveyard. Oh yeah, and I built a boat to transport our diplomats. Maybe now we can actually see Queen Corbon's island, and Queen Monster's. I sent my diplomats straight over to Queen Corbon. Her island was the biggest out of all of ours. This made me very curious to see if she filled up the whole island already, just like King Pont. Well, here goes nothing. Wow, this looks packed. I only see wooden walls though. Oh gosh, 2 dragons are attacking her island right when we land here? What are the odds? Alright, Queen Corbon, it looks like you got a pretty good setup here. Just where's all your stone? Uh-oh, thanks for your efforts, but we couldn't wait any longer. Hopefully things will work out better next time. Wait, what just happened? I definitely promised to bring her something, but I forgot what. Let's see, maybe she'll still do a military alliance even after I let her down. And that was successful, nice. I can see her whole island now. She does in fact have most of it filled. Oh my gosh, that is a lot of buildings. Mainly houses, though. Now, it's time to see Queen Monster's island. Oh wow, she's got a whole fortress. And she has a lot more troops than I thought she would have. My enemy, what have you say? Let's end this war and have peace between our nations. Never, I won't rest until you're destroyed. You're gonna regret that, Queen Monster. This diplomat is now assigned to full-time spying. I'm gonna watch every single ship she sends off this island to come and attack us, so that way I'll be prepared. I don't believe she told me to get off her island. That is just rude. Just because of that, I'm gonna build up my economy and out-research her, starting with this first charcoal sale. I'm not gonna lie, having a diplomat spy on Queen Monster's island is 200 IQ. It looks like she's getting a swordsman unit and archer unit ready to send over. I would have never known that if I didn't have the spy over here. Things are really coming together. Our castle looks great. I guess you maybe could argue that there's a little bit of wood still, but hey, we're getting there. Which one should I choose next? Maybe I should save up a little bit more to get improved construction techniques. There's nothing negative about paying less resources to build buildings. Both Queen Corbon and King Pont decided to pay me a surprise visit. Queen Corbon basically asked me for resources to build a produce storage, and King Pont delivered a gift. Alright, this time I'm not going to forget about the supplies for Queen Corbon. I already even started preparing them. Wow, we really are getting a whole lot of visitors. First Queen Corbon and King Pont, and now 3 Viking units. Are my eyes deceiving me, or did that Viking unit step foot on our island and then immediately get back in the boat? Yo, King Pont's sending backup. He's a real one. The Vikings sailed away in defeat. Every single one of their boats was empty. Their huge procession away from our island was a clear indicator that we won. Honestly, despite me being at war with Queen Monster, we still technically worked together to take out Vikings. Let's see. I think we have literally every single angle covered. The ballistas have insane range. I want to include all of this inside of our walls, so we'll have a little forest area that we get infinite wood from. Kinda ironic saying that though, as I have to destroy a whole bunch of trees. I'm gonna go ahead and make this a residential area as well. We already have a whole bunch of houses nearby anyways. Let's go ahead and get some stone walls down. I don't really feel like messing with wooden ones anymore, so let's go ahead and skip straight to stone. I'm pretty happy with myself. I actually managed to send over the resources that Queen Corbon needed. I guess I can kind of think of it as repaying her for all the gifts that she's given us. This just goes there. And now we have almost the entire second layer of the castle walled off. Well, well, what do you know? King Pont returned already. And our very first swordsman finished training. King Pont was interested in negotiating our trade prices. I kinda just went along with whatever my advisor recommended. Let's go ahead and get back to finishing off this wall. I feel like every time I try to start working on some kind of project, something always ends up distracting me. Whether it's my neighbors, Vikings, or dragons, it's always something. Look at all of that food coming in. Hey, the merchant's here. Time to sell some charcoal. 162 gold is decent. No way. Queen Corbon sent over another diplomat? What has been going on lately? Usually we get a lot, but this is obsessive. Oh, now I kind of feel bad. It's her birthday. So I ended up giving her 100 gold as a present. She also happened to mention that she was over 150 years old, which is crazy. After I talked to Queen Corbon, I got back to constructing things, making a whole bunch of improvements and such. It didn't last for long though. Dragons were attacking. It looks like one's heading for Queen Corbon and one's heading for King Pont. I started research on armor-piercing arrow technology while the dragons were preoccupied. I originally was saving up for the construction upgrade, but I wouldn't really have any gold left if I bought it right now. Oh gosh, what is going on? How did my spy not alert me of all of these soldiers heading to our island? I guess that was the least of our worries right now. I had to get my troops in position to defend. Wow, she actually prepared and planned out this attack. That's kind of surprising. This one's a lot more intense than her usual 1 to 2 unit attacks. Alright, I need to make sure that my archers stay up on these walls. The second that they step off, they become vulnerable. Oh. Exactly my point. Why did I just do that? Now I'm down 1 archer unit. It was kinda weird because Queen Monster didn't know where to send her troops. At first, they were targeting my houses, which wasn't really doing anything, and then she had no idea where to send her archers. That's kind of an L for them. My ballista's gonna take out these archer units without them even having a chance. Oh, just kidding, never mind. It looks like they were just waiting for their swordsmen to arrive. Come on, let's take these guys out as quick as possible, please. I'm still honestly impressed with this attack. I didn't think Queen Monster could pull something off like this. If I were her though, I would have been going straight for the castle gates instead of destroying some useless manors. Yeah, it's going to cause some unhappiness in the kingdom, but we can rebuild the manors pretty quickly. Right as Queen Monster's attack wrapped up, Vikings invaded. Queen Monster's attack was a lot more ambitious though. There's only 3 Viking units attacking our island. And they separated for some reason, so they're not even attacking together. Just gotta take out this catapult and we are good. Nice. Uh-oh. King Pont sent over a diplomat and said that we left him hanging. He needed our help in the last invasion and we didn't send any. Adalora Mazenberger? That last name seems very familiar. Where did she go? I want to talk to this citizen. I think it was this person. Or not, I guess we'll never know. Let's go ahead and check in on Queen Monster. It looks like she's got 4 archers and 2 catapults. 5 archers and 3 catapults now. She is not taking her sweet time training more troops. I'm gonna go ahead and fortify just a bit more to take extra precautions. Just as one of our loyal citizens said, you guys in the comments, Queen Monster's attacks are just gonna get harder and harder. Wow, Queen Corbon has another present for us. I was hoping that King Pont did too, but he ended up just saying that dragons are terrifying and I told him to build more ballistas, because ballistas take out dragons pretty easily. Oh my gosh. To make the situation even worse, after seeing Queen Monster's huge army, a dragon started attacking my castle directly. This one seemed a lot larger than usual and was a whole lot more intimidating. Yeah, that dragon that was just attacking us was at least twice the size of this one. You know what that means? More ballistas. If we're gonna have to take out larger dragons, I'm gonna need a whole lot more firepower. It was time for another Viking invasion. At this point, I was kinda just assuming I was stuck in the loop of fighting off Queen Monster, killing giant dragons, and repelling Viking invasions. It seems like we're gonna be stuck in this cycle for a while, at least until we take out Queen Monster or make peace with her. The procession of Viking ships this time was huge. Even though we defeated all of the enemy Vikings, it seemed like they had a lot more troops this time than the previous. As the Congo line went by our island, Queen Corbon requested that we send over more armaments on our merchant ships. After our little conversation, I upgraded the outer wall to 2 levels, sold some charcoal for 183 gold, and then told King Pont I would send over troops to help him. This time I actually will. Everyone wants easy access to food next to their home, so I threw down 3 orchards right next to the new residential area in the bottom left corner of the castle. I continued making improvements in that area by chopping down trees to make another path, and then I once again started to refortify our stone walls. No one's getting past these things. While I was busy finding a home for a large stockpile, I ended up realizing we still had another stone node just sitting inside of our castle walls. I really didn't want to waste its potential, so I threw down a little quarry right next to it. I guess that gives me an excuse to keep building more of these, and upgrading those. It seemed like we really didn't have a big diversity in food. This inspired me to put down some more swine herds. Honestly, I want this little area over here to be completely filled with them. Uh-oh, it's dragon time. Wait, there's 3 of them? What is this one? We've never seen one of this size and color before. Uh-oh. Hopefully our ballistas will be able to take them out. Oh, that first one was easy. Jeez. Thank God we have so many ballistas, because that dragon was eating ballista shots like they were nothing. I was able to successfully get down a couple more swine herds, and then decided it was a good idea to start building some more fishing huts. There were quite a few large concentrations of fish all around the island, so I ended up placing down a fishing hut right next to every single one. Now we're going to be set on fish, meat, fruits, and wheat. Now that's what I call a healthy diet. Queen Corbon sent over some diplomats, and so did the Vikings. Queen Corbon basically wanted me to send over some troops to help her with the Vikings, and the Vikings wanted our gold. I think it's a little bit late to be asking for help with the Viking invasion since they're already heading over. But hey, a promise is a promise. Hopefully 1 unit is sufficient. Do they really think that 3 units are gonna be able to steal all of our gold? That's just delusional. I was 100% right about that, as we were able to take out all of the Vikings with ease. It also looked like Queen Corbon didn't even get attacked by the Vikings, so my archer wasn't really able to help out. I wanted to see what I could research next at the Great Library. Dragon husbandry, I'm definitely gonna go for that. Any secret weapons like dragons are gonna be super useful in taking out Queen Monasta. Since we have this whole area walled off, I think it makes sense to finally start utilizing it. Like I said before, I want this to be where we get a whole bunch of wood from, so I'm going to go ahead and put down a bunch of sawmills. King Pont and Queen Corbon both arrived with gifts after. I don't know what I did to deserve this many gifts, but I'm not going to complain. We just now need to build a road from here to there, and we are full circle. Look at all of those supplies in the harbor. It would be devastating if someone destroyed this building and we lost it all. I cannot believe how many taverns I've had to build for the Vortirians. A ginormous red dragon that we've never seen before headed straight for our island. He rained down massive hellfire and then barely escaped with literally 1 HP. Well, that was annoying. After that little incident, 35 Vikings came to invade our islands. I didn't have my archers on the correct side of the castle that we were being attacked from, so I had to rush them over there as a giant ogre was approaching our walls. All I have to say is thank God for our ballistas. This Viking invasion was looking formidable for once. Usually, they just send over 3 units. This time we've already seen 2 ogres, and it looked like 5 different Viking units. Maybe they're like Queen Monasta, and they're learning that they have to send over more than just a few units to take us out. It looks like we have a little straggler over here. This guy was late to the party. With both Queen Monasters and the Vikings invasions getting a lot more intense, I decided that it finally was time to start researching dragon husbandry. And boy was I glad that I did. I noticed Queen Monasta had 4 ships sitting on our coast, approaching and ready to attack our castle. Things are about to get intense. Queen Monasta's troops just arrived on our doorstep. I could tell, this time she wasn't playing around, just from the sheer number of troops she sent over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 different units, jeez. I got a little bit lucky, because her archers just barely couldn't reach mine. So we were able to attack her units, but she wasn't able to attack ours. Hopefully that merchant knows he's pulling right up into the middle of a battle. In addition to the merchant arriving, Queen Monasta's reinforcements landed on our island. This time they actually brought catapults. Despite sending over reinforcements, things were not looking good for Queen Monasta's troops. They still had made no real progress in causing destruction. The first gate wasn't even destroyed. It looks like she's running out of troops. Unfortunately, these last few archers could only be hit by my ballistas. They were just barely out of the range of my archers. I think I know how to fix that. Haha, there we go. You guys just sealed your fate. And that concludes the battle. We won. Okay, let's see what Queen Corbon wants. She's had her diplomat here the whole time. Could you send us more resources on your merchant ships? We need more armaments. I guess I can go ahead and agree to that. We have quite a few. This guy's a little bit late to the battle. 2 more years to go until we get dragons. Nice. I noticed one of my buildings was destroyed, and when I tried to repair it, the weirdest thing happened. It looked like we were communicating with the witch hut. But I don't see one over here. How did that even happen? I couldn't find a second witch hut over here, which was weird. So I just kind of continued on with my day and started cutting down some more trees. That way, I could use the area for a cemetery. I'm assuming there's a lot more battles to come, so we're gonna need this. Actually, wait. I don't want a graveyard right next to where we're growing food. So I'm gonna move it over to this corner instead. King Pont then sent over a diplomat, basically saying that his niece brews beer and he wants us to taste it. I told him sure, and that was when I noticed our happiness started to increase. That means the Vortirans like it. Now we have a whole new graveyard. This time, I'll actually be able to trade with the merchant, unlike last time when he came. Oh no, I guess we get dragons too with the merchant. Only 2 of them though, and one of them is giant. The other one is super small, which we'll be able to handle easily. Oh, I just saw the tiny one fall from the sky. I was not joking when I said easily. The larger of the 2 dragons was not nice to Queen Corbon. Uh-oh, here he comes. Oh, never mind. He had like no HP. Free food though. The Vikings are making their appearance now too. First Queen Monasta, the merchant, dragons, and now Vikings? Literally everyone's coming over. Thankfully, these ships aren't heading towards our island. That is absolutely hilarious. That single Viking unit did more damage than Queen Monasta's entire previous attack. Now that's just sad, I'm not gonna lie. Bye-bye, Viking fleet. Real quick, if you're enjoying the video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button for more. If you want to get more involved in the Vortide community, check out the Discord linked down below. It's about time, we finally unlocked dragons. I immediately placed down a dragon roost, which holds 2 adult-sized dragons and 1 baby. It looks like all of this open land is now going to be dedicated to dragon breeding. Wait, just kidding. I don't really feel comfortable building it outside of our castle walls, especially since the enemies will probably target it first. I'll just go ahead and use this space for another neighborhood while I make space for the dragon roost. That wasn't too bad. We just have less trees to chop down now. I don't think that's going to be an issue though. I then ended up creating a wheat farm area. Since we're already producing food over here, we might as well keep it consistent. It once again was finally time to place down the dragon roost. I won't destroy it again, I promise. Honestly, I don't even need this research. It doesn't really benefit me that much. Right as the roost completed, I checked it out. I've never used one of these before, so it was a little bit strange. But apparently, if we place down piles of gold, it seems like the dragons would be lured by it. We also need to make sure that the roost has easy access to a dragon training facility, a dragon bath, and a dragon doctor. Oh yeah, and provide it with a ton of meat and water. Well, that handles the training. Now we just gotta do the dragon bathing area. I guess that'll work. They get wood and water. It looks like the citizens want a theater, and it's causing us to lose happiness, so I placed one down. Oh no, it's Viking time again. And this time they're actually heading towards our island. Oh shoot, the archers aren't on this side of the castle yet. Get over there, boys. Maybe in this outer area, actually. See, it's a good thing we didn't build the roost out there, because it would have already been set on fire or destroyed. Classic. They're running away after setting stuff on fire. Come on, guys, get them. Well, at least that's over with. I'm gonna go ahead and add 1 pile of gold, so that way we could get our very first dragon. It just kinda stinks though, because we have to wait 10 years before we could potentially lure one. Well, I guess that gives us 10 years to build this dragon doctor. My last diplomat was unable to deliver their message. It seems like you were too busy. Wait, what? I didn't even see her send over a diplomat. Well, anyways, after she told us that, she went on to say that she loves acting, and kinda just rambled on about it. I then continued building up the residential area outside of our castle walls. And that was when I noticed we needed more taverns. Again. I guess here's as good a spot as any. It looks like Queen Monasta almost has her whole army built up again. I'm assuming we're gonna have to prepare for another invasion. I could have swore I just saw the no money sign. I think she's going broke. After checking out Queen Monasta's army, King Pon came over asking if we could renegotiate our prices. And then I got an achievement. Humble Kingdom, a kingdom with 1,000 strong. That's insane. The kingdom of Vortira now has over 1,000 citizens. I honestly wanted to host a celebration, but I knew that the right thing to do was to keep fortifying our defenses, as things were only going to get harder and harder. We didn't really have time to celebrate. Well, would you look at that? Vikings and dragons. I was honestly a lot more excited than I was scared, because we were going to be taming one of these dragons. No way. Did we get the large scary one? Yeah, it's showing him as green on our minimap. That's insane. Well, hopefully he's able to help with this invasion, because that's a lot of Vikings. Sadly enough, he wasn't. I think he was getting settled at the roost. Unfortunately, the Vikings were able to break through our first wall. Oh, would you look at that? Our dragon is up and moving. His name is Scorchclaw, and he's 56 years old. That's crazy. I, the king of Vortira, am older than this dragon. It looked like some straggler Vikings made it to my island late, and Scorchclaw headed right out to take care of them. He immediately breathed fire at them and pretty much took them out instantly. Oh boy, the kingdom of Vortira is about to be overpowered, especially when we tame more than one dragon. The investment to tame them is definitely worth it. So I placed down another 1,000 gold and was excited for when they would invade next. I never would have thought a dragon would make for a good pet. I ended up destroying the Great Library, because what's the point of having it here if I'm not going to be doing any more research? I could use this space for something else. Queen Corbon was being overly generous again and sent over another gift. This one was huge. I then realized that our food supplies were dropping pretty quickly, so I threw down a whole bunch of apple orchards. I would now say we have enough buildings outside of our current walls to actually include all of those buildings inside of them. So I started working on that. I don't want the Vikings to have easy access. Isn't Scorchclaw so adorable in there? Oh, what's this? 68% bonding? I wonder what happens when it hits 100. Weird. The merchant doesn't want charcoal for once. I wonder how much more range I get from... Oh. Tower of Babel. Build a tower reaching for the heavens. Cool. But I wonder how much more range we actually get from that. It looks like Queen Corbon wants some more armaments again. Yes, you'll get your armaments, don't worry. It's also almost time for the next invasion. I think I'm supposed to help King Pont out with the Vikings. So I'm going to go ahead and move over my one archer unit from Queen Corbon's castle all the way over to King Pont's. That way he can't say I didn't help. Well, that was perfect timing. Vikings and dragons at the same time. That means Scorchclaw is about to get another friend. Let's go. It looks like we get another big dragon. Sheesh. Look at Scorchclaw go. He just completely took out that unit. I don't think that the Vikings even stand a chance against us anymore, especially now that we have 2 dragons. Let's see, what's your name? Toothless. I like that name. Well, would you look at that? Another snack for my dragons. At this point, it didn't even matter how many enemies were attacking us, and from what sides. Our defenses were just way too good. Anytime I saw enemies approaching the island, I started to get excited, because I knew that they stood no chance, and my dragons were able to take them out within seconds. Wait, what the heck? Where did that third little dragon come from? No way, I think these two had a baby. Flare. It looks like he even has a set of armor on him or something. That's super cool. Jeez, that is a lot of casualties right there. Let's see what Queen Corbon wants. This time she basically just told me she loves to write, and then kept talking about theater. She then asked me if I would be willing to show one of her plays in my theater. I basically told her yes, because there was no harm in that. This really seemed to make her day. Scorchclaw seemed to be stuck at 95% bonding. It said that he needed some fish because there was none available to him. So I started spamming down a whole bunch of fishing huts wherever I could. That should hopefully finish the bonding. I also started preparing a whole bunch of archers for our first retaliation attack against Queen Monasta. Oh, let's see what King Pont wants. I feel like we haven't heard from him in a while. What happened with the invasion? You left us. Wait, what? I literally had an archer at his castle. What is he talking about? Whatever. It seems like he keeps getting mad about all these random things. It's that time of the decade again. Dragons and Vikings are invading. I wonder if it's possible to tame one of those dragons with the orange wings. Sadly, I don't have the space to hold another dragon, but it would be cool. I think that a lot of these enemies are taken out before my ballistas can even shoot at them. Merchants here. This time I'm going to buy a whole bunch of fish, as much as I can. I'm hoping we'll be able to successfully bond all 3 dragons with that fish. If not, these should help out too. Well, would you look at that? I was right. It looked like Scourgeclaw was now completely bonded, and I could tell him exactly where to fly. That's going to be way overpowered for attacking Queen Monasta. Now I just need to get Toothless and Flare fully bonded, and we'll have our own little dragon army. I also completely forgot that Queen Corbon was still at war with Queen Monasta. If I time one of my attacks to line up with one of Queen Corbon's, that'll make the invasion even easier. Things are not looking promising for Queen Monasta. Let's give this a little trial run. I want to see how much energy Scourgeclaw uses to fly over to Queen Monasta's island, because he can't fly forever. That was barely any, but it seems like her ballistas do quite a lot of damage to Scourgeclaw. I'm going to have to keep that in mind when we actually do launch an invasion. Since I was a little bit unsure if 3 dragons would be enough to take out Queen Monasta, I decided to build another roost. This meant that I was going to have to build another dragon trainer, doctor, and bath. Oh, whatever, it'll be worth it though. I'll go ahead and place on both gold piles now. And apparently it's time to take out some Vikings too. Oh my gosh, there's like none left already. That was so quick. Dragons are super overpowered. Alright, let's go ahead and get down these dragon supporting buildings just so I could be crowned the King of Dragons. I'm gonna go ahead and place a whole bunch of stockpiles here too. No one in their right mind would attack something right next to the roost. My point got proven a couple years later. Queen Monasta sent over some troops, and this time she attacked from the front of the castle. Last time, before the roost was there, she sent them towards the back. Queen Corbon sent in some troops to attack Queen Monasta, so I sent in one of my dragons to go and assist. Sadly, Scourgeclaw didn't make it over to Queen Monasta's island until after Queen Corbon's troops were taken out. I decided to send him in just to see their defenses a little bit better, and that was a really bad idea, as Scourgeclaw almost died. He only had around 30 HP left. Alright, you need to go see the doctor after that one. Weirdly enough, it looked like Flare moved over to the other dragon roost. Hey, he's almost 70% bonded. That's pretty good. Well, would you look at that? Another dragon joined our cause. Or at least it was about to. Aw, darn. I'm kinda disappointed we didn't get the dragon with the orange wings. I guess we'll at least get some free meat from him. With Queen Monasta's defenses being distracted by the Vikings, I felt like now was a perfect time to send in Scourgeclaw. I tried taking out one of their ballistas, and I think it was successful. I couldn't really tell though, because it was still on fire when Scourgeclaw flew away. It's kinda crazy, I don't think a single Viking stepped foot on our island. I think by now, they know that I'm the King of Dragons, and don't want to send over a whole bunch of troops just to be taken out instantly. Queen Corbon with another gift. Wow, she's probably taken notice of our dragons as well, with even more gifts coming in recently. I decided that it was finally time to awake the witch on our island. The first thing she said to me was that she wanted around 150 wheat. Lady, I don't have that. So basically, I refused. This made her dislike me, so I started off with a bad relationship with her. At least I'm still friends with King Pont, I guess. Let's see what he wants. Ah, I heard a humorous joke. Let me share it with you. Excellent, go on. Psych, I'm not actually reading all of this. I know if I just go through it and tell him that it was funny, he'll be happy. Bingo. I'm gonna try something new. Instead of attacking where I normally do, I'm gonna go ahead and head around Queen Monasta's island and attack from the other side. Alright, let's see how this goes. Alright, that's better than before. We took out one archer tower. Maybe we can get 2. Alright, I don't trust that. Get out of there, Scorch. Oh my gosh. Scourgeclaw only had 17 HP left. That was close. Even closer than the one time he only had 30 HP left. I'm just happy he survived that. And honestly, I'm ready for even more dragons. I'm gonna plan on building a third roost. Alright, let's see how many of you guys are bonded. It looks like 3 of you. Queen Monster is toast. I feel like I've seen what 1 dragon is capable of. Now let's see 3. Wow, that archer tower was taken out almost instantly. That's right, my dragons. Deal as much damage as you possibly can. I was mainly focusing on archer towers and any units that were in our way. That way, next time we come back, we'll be able to take out even more archer towers and then the ballistas. Her island has definitely taken enough damage for now. I'm gonna go ahead and send the dragons back before they run out of energy. And it looks like Queen Corbon's getting involved now. Alright, I'm gonna need these guys for the invasion, so I'll go ahead and move them right next to her island. Maybe I could bait out some enemies with my archers. Wait, what the heck? Where did that swordsman just come from? I guess that did kinda work. Alright, all 4 dragons are finally bonded. Let's deal some damage. I feel really bad for these guys on the boat. Oh wait, it only did half of the boat's health. Alright, dragons for taking out boats, definitely a no-go. Once all 4 of my fire-breathing friends made it to Queen Monster's island, I started wreaking havoc. Literally any building that was in our way, I made them destroy it. Then, once our dragons were warmed up, I sent them directly in for 1 ballista. That one got destroyed with ease, and I moved them on to the second one. We then had to take out an archer tower, and finally a 3rd ballista. I noticed that one of my dragons' health was getting really low though, so I told them to retreat back to our island, just in time too. I honestly shouldn't be risking their lives just to deal a little bit of extra damage. Uh-oh, Queen Corbon and King Pont are at my doorstep for some reason. Queen Corbon just wanted to renegotiate our trade prices, which I did, and King Pont delivered a gift. I honestly thought that they were going to condemn me for using dragons against Queen Monster. It's Viking invasion time. Time to feed my pets. It never gets old seeing how quickly we take out these Vikings. Now we can get back to Queen Monster. I was purely focused in on taking out as many towers as I possibly could, so that way we would be able to launch a big invasion against Queen Monster and have very little resistance. It looks like we really only have 1 ballista left, which is crazy. Now 0, it's only archer towers, which don't do a lot of damage to my dragons. Wow, we just did so much damage. I think that the next invasion is gonna be the one that we take out Queen Monster for good. Alright, I think we've done enough damage. Let's go ahead and send these guys back to their roosts. I also see a perfect little opening that we can use to get right inside of Queen Monster's castle with our troops. Now I just need to wait on the dragons to heal up and we'll be set. It feels good to finally be able to bring the battle to Queen Monster. She's been attacking us for hundreds of years, and now it's our time to shine. The dragons are ready. I quickly moved them into position and had my 2 boats waiting right outside of the gap. Alright, it looks like we're going right in. Let's take out 2 of these archer towers, and then go straight for the keep. Move, move, move! There we go. She stands no chance at this point. Let's go. You have defeated me. This conflict is over. I am exiling you. So be it. I pray that you treat my people well. My kingdom, or what's left of it, is yours. We did it. We finally defeated Queen Monster. After all the trouble she's given us, she's gone. Exiled for good. I'm just gonna go ahead and place down this outpost, and her island is ours. It now belongs to the Kingdom of Vortira. My first official order of business on this island is getting this wall repaired. I don't want any Vikings sneaking in here. Alrighty, we got a whole lot of repairs to do, especially since I used my dragons to just completely set this whole thing on fire. I kind of regret doing that now. We have a whole checklist of things that need to be done to make our villagers happy on this island. It might take some time, but we'll get there. And that takes care of the gap, so we are set on defenses. I ended up building another neighborhood right where I was planning on building another roost. There was honestly more than enough open land to build both, as long as I chopped down a few more trees. Queen Monasta didn't really have a good design for her island. Everything just kind of seemed chaotic and misplaced. So I ended up clearing out a whole bunch of buildings that she had and placed down the buildings that I needed to make our citizens happier. How did she only survive with one charcoal maker? That's insane. Well, anyways, back on our main island, I continued to build some more houses. I can't forget the well, clinic, library, and small market. Otherwise, our citizens wouldn't be happy. Uh-oh, the Vikings are about to invade, along with the dragons. I want to buff up our defenses on Hellsback just in case we need them. With my luck, all of the Vikings will head directly over to this island. In addition to building a few more ballistas, I sent over a dragon to also protect Hellsback. Honestly, that was a great decision, because Flare really came in clutch. That reminds me, I need to repair all of the archer towers over on this side of the island, because there's virtually no defenses at all. Besides Flare, of course. Flare is going off against that one ogre. Ooh, an achievement. Thriving Kingdom. Your kingdom is strong and has many times overcame hardships. That was a pleasant surprise. Now let's get these archer towers up. I've been so busy renovating Hellsback that I've kind of been neglecting Vortiera. It's noticeable too, because our happiness is definitely dropping over here. I need to focus on bringing Vortira's happiness back up. But also, after taking over Queen Monasta's island, I think I have my eyes set on a new prize. With King Pont's recent shift in attitude towards us, I didn't know if we were going to remain friends. It seemed like everything I was doing was wrong and decreasing our relationship. Let's see how much longer I tolerate this disrespect. In the meantime though, I set up a transportation ship from Hellsback all the way over to Vortira. Queen Monasta must have been stockpiling stone, because she had over 1,000 on Hellsback. I made sure that the transport ship was taking around 100 each trip and dropping it off at Vortira. I'm sure taking a little bit of stone won't hurt anything. Ah, Queen Corbon. Let's see what she wants. Negotiating prices? Ugh. My diplomat, is no longer useful on this island. I do own it after all now, so there's no point of them being here. I ended up sending my diplomat over to King Pont's island. Let's see what I could talk about with King Pont. Sorry, no time for chit-chat. What? We're supposed to be allies. At this point, I was certain that King Pont wasn't genuine. So, I pulled a Queen Monasta and demanded that he paid me gold. As expected, he told me no. I'm sure you could guess where this is going. Since I knew that we were heading in the direction of war, I started setting up another area for new dragons. My plan now was to just keep taunting King Pont until he declared war on us. I really didn't want to declare war on him because Queen Corbon would probably see us as the aggressor. So, if I make King Pont mad enough and he declares war on me, we should be good. I'm going to move you guys onto this ship and then onto King Pont's island. Let's just hope that he thinks all of the archer units I'm moving onto his island are to help with the next Viking invasion. Surely. King Pont sent over a diplomat. I think he knows what's going on. Oh, never mind. He's just talking about a plague and how he fixed it, basically. And I did not mean to compliment him. Now I gotta go tell my diplomat to be mean. Well, that was easy. 7 archers, 1 swordsman, and 1 catapult. I don't think it could be any more obvious. So obvious that I'm helping with this Viking invasion. I'm not planning on attacking King Pont whatsoever. It looked like all of the Vikings were making their way over to Queen Corbon's castle. We only had 3 ships approaching ours. My dragons are gonna make light work of these guys. Imagine pulling up to an island ready to loot and plunder, and 6 dragons just swarm you. Would you look at that? I'm finally giving King Pont the support that he asked for. I'd say he definitely owes us gold for helping out. Oh wow, he actually agreed to pay? 11 gold? Are you kidding me? This is war. I got what I wanted, but it was a little bit earlier than I expected. I didn't think he would give in that quickly. I want all of the dragons to get over there as soon as possible. It looks like my archers are not holding out over there. Since King Pont didn't even have any ballistas, I sent my dragons straight for his keep, all 6 of them. Let me tell you, the keep was destroyed so quickly. Its health went from 200 to 0 in a matter of seconds. That's right, King Pont, you were never a worthy ruler anyways. I did to him what I did to Queen Monasta: exile. In taking over King Pont's island, we were now recognized as a dignified kingdom. No way. The villagers on each island all count towards the whole kingdom. That means if we take over Queen Corbon's island, we might be able to get another achievement because she has such a huge population. I think I know what I'm gonna do after I repair this island a little bit. I immediately got to work by placing down an outpost and then looking at the needs of my new villagers. Time to get busy. There's no water supply leading to this. What was King Pont thinking? He wasn't very good at spreading water around the city, so I started doing it as best as I could. It also appeared that we didn't have very many cemeteries, so I cleared up some space for one and placed it down. There we go. That should make the people a lot more happy. What's going on with this stone? It's not even being utilized. There we go. Much better. Queen Corbon reached out asking for some help in the next raid. I honestly felt bad telling her that I would be able to help, because I knew that I needed her land. Queen Monasta and King Pont were one thing. Queen Monasta was just straight up aggressive, and King Pont was a little bit fake, so I didn't mind attacking them. But Queen Corbon, she's always been nice. I guess you gotta do what you gotta do though. With the right side of my castle now being pretty developed, I decided that it would be a good idea to wall it off completely. It was already pretty much there, so it wasn't hard to do. Queen Monasta's old island has finally stabilized. Yeah, the people still had a little bit of trauma, but our happiness was at 66, which isn't bad. Wow, this is going to be a great addition to Vortira. Back on King Pont's old island of Escalation, I cleared out some trees to place down some apple farms. We were burning food quickly on this island, so I needed to produce more of it. Alright, now we have apples and wheat. This area looks pretty nice cleared out. Since I lost almost all of my units at the siege of Vortira, I needed to buy more armaments from the merchant to train more. Oh yeah, and I was still selling my coal any chance that I could get. Uh-oh, Vikings! I was so preoccupied with all 3 cities I was managing that I completely forgot we were going to be attacked. Things are not looking good on Hellsbeck. 2 giant ogres were already heading directly towards our outpost. I think we'll be able to manage over there. It looks like Queen Corbon's getting hit pretty hard too. And of course, there were no Vikings attacking Vortiera. They knew that my dragons would make light work of them. We did it. We survived. Now that's a lot of Viking ships. I checked the damages at Vortira and Hellsbeck. It looked like 1 Viking catapult was still attacking Hellsbeck. Not for much longer he will be. He was literally taken out instantly. Queen Corbon returned, this time with a gift. Despite it being a lot of materials, I gave her some attitude when accepting it, just to make my intentions clear. I didn't want to pretend to be her friend, and then attack her, especially since she was a good person. It's dragon time. 3 separate dragons were attacking Hellsbeck. My ballistas handled them almost instantly. We were actually prepared this time, unlike when the Vikings attacked. Now's as good a time as any. I might as well start ruining our relationship, as I was gonna have to declare war on her soon enough. Right as the Viking invasion ended, I talked to Queen Corbon. I knew that I didn't send any troops over to help, so this decreased our relationship by quite a bit. I then also told her that she needed to pay us gold, which she gave what she could. Vortira pretty much had everything that it needed. I used the new space that we just cleared up to put down another dragon roost. And then all of the dragon maintenance buildings as well. Let's go ahead and see if I could talk to Queen Corbon again. Nice, I can cause some more drama. I ended up telling her that I wanted more money. She refused to pay me and told me to go. That's unexpected. I thought she would have broken our alliance after that one. No way. It looks like Flair had a baby with Flamara. He used to just be a baby himself, but now look at him. He's grown up and has his own child. Weirdly enough, I had 5 boats sitting near my southern dock. I only remember building 1. These other 4 must have come from King Pont and Queen Monasta. It's time to break the alliance with Queen Corbon and declare war. Queen Corbon's troops immediately mobilized. They hopped on a bunch of transport ships and started heading directly for Vortiera. It's a good thing they didn't focus any of my other islands, because I don't know if I would be able to sustain a big attack. Vortira's defenses are so elite, and we have a bunch of dragons, so I'm not really worried about this city getting attacked. In an effort to try and slow down Queen Corbon's attackers, I set up a little barricade, hoping that they wouldn't be able to get through. But they did. Alright, my dragons, do your work. Take out Queen Corbon's army so we can go and invade. She sent over an impressive amount of troops, and I honestly think if we didn't have dragons, this invasion wouldn't have gone as well as it did. Thankfully, we were able to take out all of the invaders. Her transport ships were heading back to her island empty. That was when she sent over a diplomat proposing that we end this war. She obviously was out of troops and had no other choice. But I decided that we would continue fighting until I owned her kingdom. Queen Corbon sent her troops, now it was my turn. I sent 2 dragons in to immediately take out one of her ballistas. That's really all I used them for, and then had them return back to Vortiera. I was planning on taking out her ballistas one by one and then doing a larger attack. So basically, I'm gonna be copying the Viking strategies for now, hit and runs. Speaking of the Vikings, they decided to invade. I guess it's time to feed my dragons again. I thought my islands were doing well. That wasn't until I looked over at Escalation. I basically had no defenses on the southwest tip of my island, and the Vikings boarded there, causing significant damage. I sent over one of the dragons from Vortiera to help out. Interestingly enough though, it looked like we were okay. As the Vikings and ogres poured onto the island of Vortiera, my dragons got to work. I only saw one in action, and then the rest of them showed up. Let's just say the entire Viking army did not survive for very long after that. Now that the Vikings were handled, I sent my diplomat spy a little bit further into Queen Corbon's castle. Afterwards, I got 2 dragons ready and sent them out. They both arrived at Queen Corbon's castle and were able to take out 2 ballistas before one of them almost died. I feel like one of my dragons always almost dies in each attack. Right as the first 2 dragons made it back to Vortiera, I sent over another 2, just to keep constant pressure on Queen Corbon's castle. They managed to take out 2 ballistas, and then even 2 archer towers. I sent them back towards Vortiera because I knew that my next attack was gonna be the last. As I was watching my dragons heal, a dragon invasion commenced. I wasn't really concerned, as I had a whole bunch of ballistas on the island that could take these guys out with ease. No need to get my own dragons involved. What I did get them involved in though, was our final attack on Queen Corbon. It looked like she was able to rebuild one of her ballistas and some of the archer towers. This was a little bit annoying, but I sent my dragons in to do their magic. Defense after defense crumbled. I was pretty surprised to see that Queen Corbon was able to replace these towers so quickly. We weren't even gone for that long. But nevertheless, it didn't make a difference. I went in for her keep after taking out most of her towers. The keep didn't last very long. It did hold out a couple seconds longer than I thought it would though. You have defeated me. This conflict is over. I am exiling you. My kingdom, or what's left of it, is yours. Well, would you look at that? My plan worked. We just achieved a magnificent kingdom. Now, all that was left to do was reach a population of 5,000 across all 4 of my islands. The only way that we were going to do that is if I ensure that all 4 islands are running smoothly and everyone's happy. So I immediately got to work upgrading as much as I could on Queen Corbon's old island, Frighten. Its happiness was only at 49, which was pretty low, but I knew what I needed to do to get it up. Just placing a cemetery alone already raised it up to 56 happiness. It was time for the Vikings to invade again. I was more focused on our income. It seemed like my gold pile was not increasing, but just staying the same. It turns out, dragons are really expensive to keep. That's a lot of Vikings and ogres. But I also have a lot of dragons. May the best faction win, I guess. I feel like these Vikings could have also landed somewhere a bit less crowded. Yo, what is going on over here? I started to realize that I needed to have one dragon on each island whenever the Vikings invaded. All of the other islands except Vortira really weren't decked out with defenses. This led to me having to actually repair buildings after the invasions, which was annoying. After the Viking invasion, I noticed that the happiness on Vortira was incredibly low. It turns out the people wanted a jousting arena. It was the same situation on Frighten. Honestly, that's a super random building to want. But hey, if it makes the people happy, it makes them happy. I of course built one on each island. Now that everything was settled on Vortira at least, I decided it was time to place down some more housing. There really wasn't a good spot to place it, so I had to clear a whole bunch of trees from one of the larger forests. That was quick. Now let's get down some houses. I designed the new residential area just as I would any of them. Nothing was unique about it. I then got distracted with the Viking invasion. This time, I actually prepared a little bit by sending out 2 dragons to the other islands. I was very happy that I did, because if I didn't, I don't know if the other islands would have fully survived. In the past they were fine, but this invasion had a staggering 46 Viking units. Thankfully, each island survived, but just barely. I even had 2 ogres get so close to the outpost on Frighten. I have no clue what would have happened if they destroyed it. Once things once again calmed down, I then built a brand new neighborhood right next to the most recent addition. Little did I know, this neighborhood was about to change things for Vortira forever. Vortira was now recognized as the Kingdom of the Gods. This was the highest honor that any kingdom could ever be given. And it was the very last achievement I needed to 100% kingdoms and castles.